There have been many, many shows and characters that I have been asked to play that I've refused to play because I didn't feel like I could in good conscience do it. I don't know if you would call that an obstacle, because I tend to believe that if I make the right choices in those situations, that I'll be rewarded for that, you know? And so, thank you so much, my friend. And so that's something that kind of has hindered working on more shows, but at the same time, I kind of tend to think that if you make good choices in your life, you'll be blessed for those choices. That, you know, good choices will beget more opportunities. So I don't know that I would say much more than that, just the competition. And location is an obstacle. When I lived in Houston, and I still have a house in Houston, I kind of still live in Houston, but currently I'm living in Los Angeles. But when I was in Houston, I auditioned for shows in Dallas. But the only way that Funimation in Dallas would cast me would be if I assured them that I would be there as if I lived in Dallas. I mean, why cast somebody that has to drive up from Houston if you have 500 actors in Dallas, right in your backyard that can play the role, right? Why cause yourself trouble scheduling actors, you know, unless the actors from Houston are going to be every bit as available to you and make themselves as available as actors in Dallas. So I promised them that I would be there whenever they needed me. And you guys, did I rack up the frequent flyer miles flying to Dallas, doing all the shows that I've done for Funimation without living in Dallas. Los Angeles was the same way. I wanted to work with these studios in Los Angeles, but they're like, well, you don't live here. Like, I know, but I'll be here whenever you need me. I promise I'll come whenever you want me here. Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. They didn't want to give me an opportunity to even audition out there. And it didn't matter that I had a credit list 3 pages long. It didn't matter to them that I could do the job. What mattered to them was that I was right there, accessible to them whenever they needed me. They're like, well, what would you do, Vic, if you flew out here to play this character and and you pronounced the character Hikaru, and then we found out 2 weeks later that it needed to be pronounced Hikaru? You gonna fly back out here for $500? You gonna fly back out to walk into the studio and go Hikaru, and then fly back? It's a valid point. So for a long time, I didn't get any opportunities to be in any shows in Los Angeles. I did get video game opportunities because video games are a one-time recording. You go and you record for a few days on this character in this game and you're done. But episodic, series they're ongoing. Like Bleach, every time they record a new set of episodes for Bleach, there's Ikaku. So it wasn't until like a couple of years after I'd made friends with companies in Los Angeles that they let me actually audition for Bleach. And I auditioned for all the main roles in Bleach. I was like, this is it. I'm going to get to play a big role in Bleach. And I didn't get cast. And I'm like, well, I knew I wouldn't. They need somebody that's there all the time. And I understood that. And then the next round of auditions came up for Bleach. And Ikaku was one of the characters in that next round of auditions. And I read for him, and they finally called me and said, we're going to give you a shot on this. And so, sure enough, if Ikaku had 9 lines, which I could probably do in 10 minutes, I flew out to LA and would record those 9 lines because I wanted to be true to my word that if you give me this opportunity, I'll be there. And they didn't even understand it. They're like, dude, you're not going to make any money. Like, whatever money you might have made, you'll spend on the airfare. I mean, it cancels it out. Why would you do that? Well, my answer to that, and I have no problem telling you guys this, my answer to that is because I do what I do because I love it, not because I make a lot of money at it. That's true. I mean, that's the truth. No voice actor is going to tell you they make a lot of money. I mean, we don't get paid a lot of money. But I love what I do so much that I had no problem spending the money to go out there, even if I wasn't going to come home with any profit. Because to me, I'm doing something that I love. The costs of doing it were covered, and you're building relationships. You know, who knows? If I come through for them on this show, maybe the next show I get a better opportunity. So it's an investment in the career sometimes, you know, not to get paid, you know, tons of money every time or something. Yes, sir.
I was just going to ask in that general kind of subject, what would you suggest to people who do have that kind of geographic problem? If they want to get in the type of things that you did?
You know, that's a tough question, man. It's hard, you guys, because there are a lot of people trying to get into this business. There are a lot of people that want to do this kind of thing. But there are only a few places where this kind of work is done. It's done in Houston, it's done in Dallas, it's done in Los Angeles, it's done in Vancouver, Canada, and a little bit of it is done in New York. But you kind of have to be where the work is. I mean, you can't, I had developed this huge resume and even relationships with these people, and it still took me a while to get an opportunity in a city that I wasn't living in. So people that have no connection or real experience or resume to speak of, thinking that they could send in auditions from hundreds of miles away to Funimation and get cast, and then they're going to move to Dallas, it'll never happen. Sorry. Never. Because Dallas has 100 people living right there auditioning for that same role. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a matter of dollars and cents, of budget and scheduling, that they all have to worry about those issues. Actors don't, but the companies do. That chances are they're not going to cast somebody who lives in Illinois to play a role, in a regular recurring role, who's never done it, who has no relationship with Funimation. Even now, a lot of their actors have moved to Los Angeles or somewhere else, and when shows have come back and those actors are busy or they can't get back to record their roles, I'll tell you a little story. I'm getting off on a tangent, but this is all stuff I think you guys are interested in. When we cast when Caitlin and Mike McFarland cast Oron High School Host Club, there was one of the hosts who was cast. An actor from out of town was cast. They kept trying to schedule him, and he was being difficult. Can't come in then, can't come in then, I can't be gone that long, can't do. Problem, this is the problem we're talking about. They ended up recasting. Before one line was ever recorded, they're like, you know what, we're going to have to get somebody else for this role. Now, it all worked out for the best, and everybody in the show is awesome. It's not about who it was. The point is the fact that this guy done plenty of voice acting, you know, talented, very talented, experienced guy, but the scheduling problem was so difficult they actually just had to recast. And this is somebody they knew. So at the same time, I would never encourage somebody to pick up your life and move to Dallas because you think you're going to work for Funimation.